So the guys at the Modern Maker podcast have created what they're calling the 2x4 challenge. And I wanted to get my project in pretty early because there have been other challenges, and the reason I didn't submit an entry is because other people did the same project. I don't want that to happen this time. I'm going to want 8 4 1/8 inch pieces, so that's a total of 33 inches. And then I'm going to run that through the thickness planer to give me a nice smooth edge so I can glue them together. Okay, now that's good enough because I just need it smooth enough to get a good glue joint. So you might be wondering why I said 8 4 1/8 inch pieces. I know the width of this blade here is 1/8 of an inch. So now I've got 8 4-inch pieces, and I'm going to glue those together, chuck them up in the lathe, and turn them into 3.5 inch diameter balls. And that's going to leave me a 1/4 inch on each end that I can part off and round out with the sander. I still haven't told you what I'm making yet, but I think it's going to become apparent pretty soon. While the ball blanks dry, I'm going to cut the blanks for the mallet handles, the posts, and the mallet heads. Okay, so I'm going to rip this one in half on the table saw to make my 2 end posts, and I'm going to rip these 2 in half on the table saw to make my 4 mallet handles. Now I've measured this one out, and I want 4 8-inch long mallet heads. There are some knots in here, but I'm going to be able to work my way around them. One thing I like to do, and I like to mention it on camera from time to time, is if you use these, always look inside, because you never know what might have crawled in there. So here are my 4 mallet handle blanks. All I need to do is turn them into round, and then my 2 post blanks, which I also just need to turn into round. On the mallet heads, I'm going to rip those down to 2.5 inches wide, but at this end of the board I want the 2.5 inches from this side of the board, and at that end I want the 2.5 inches from that side. So I'm going to cut the blanks to length first, and then I'll rip off the side that I'm not going to use, the side that has the knots in it, like right there. Now that all the glue ups are done, we'll come back in the morning and turn everything into the appropriate parts. So all the gluing is done. I've got my 4 ball blanks, my 4 mallet head blanks, my 4 mallet handle blanks, and my 2 post blanks. It's time to break out the lathe. One thing has become abundantly clear. These 2x4s are not strong enough to stand up to the impact of the chisels. So if this project is going to continue, I think the way I'm going to have to do it is spin it and belt sand it. So that's what I'm going to try now. So progress with the belt sander was pretty slow. I did keep after it for quite a while. This mallet handle, for example, took me about 25 minutes, and that was just too long. So I ultimately decided to break out the rotary rasp, which is an attachment for my angle grinder. It came in really handy when I was carving out the balls. I've got my mallet heads and I've got my cone-shaped handles. What I don't have is a cone-shaped drill. That leaves me with only one alternative. I have to sand my cone hole. So I'm going to sand my cone hole with a rifler rasp, one of these. Some people call it a riffler. I'm not sure which is right. I think some wood glue and that's going to hold just fine. Next, I'm masking off the mallet handles and the mallet heads and the end posts to put a little bit of decoration on them. I'm just going to use spray paint on this because I'm no master when it comes to using a brush. And the last thing to do is glue my handles into my cone holes. A croquet set made from two 2x4s. Well friends, there you have it. A croquet set made from two 2x4s. And I made sure to get in on this thing early because I didn't want a dozen other people beating me to the punch on this idea. That's what happened with the fidget spinner challenge, and I just don't want to let that kind of thing happen again. I got a reputation to uphold. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun doing this. Not sure what I'm going to do with the croquet set. I'm not a big croquet fan. Probably just give it to the neighborhood association, let the kids play with it. Anyway, click up here to see my last video. Click up here to see something of mine that YouTube thinks you'll like. And have a good one.